Hello everyone. So on this new video, I want to demonstrate how to create a Azure Service Principal. So Azure Service Principal is basically you're creating an account or something that will allow your application to communicate with other applications or other people. So that is just that. So the first thing you want to do is, and that is implemented through what we call Azure Service Registration. So now if I go here and I go to app registration, app registration. So I go to app registration. So I can look at what I have already in this app registration. So I have my directory. I have one app here, but I can create a new one. I want to call this one, let me see, task manager. So I call it task manager. Let me say my task manager. Then I want to, now there is one thing here. Let me just give some kind of explanation here. So if you look at this place, it talks about like choose the tenant type that can use this application or access this API. Now you can see multiple Entra tenants, single tenant, and any Entra ID tenant or personal Microsoft account, personal account only. You can choose anyone, but I'm using this, but there is a lot to that. So, but I don't want to go into much here, maybe later. So then we say select platform. It's just a web application, and I want to give it a name, URL, https full column my task is my task manager.com. So I'm registering that account. So I think good. So now everything is good. Then I go ahead and say register this app. So after an app is registered, the first thing you want to do is to give it create an app role for that. So I'll go to create app role here, and we call it task manager role. We want to call it so that so I want it to be able to be used by user group and application itself. And what do I want to do? Maybe I want it to be able to write. What I want to do, and just say write. Just want to give it some justification, and I will say apply. So you can see I created, a service account using app registration. Then I included on it app role. Then the next thing I want to do is to do app permission. So if you look at it by default, you have these, Microsoft Graph API permission. And here you can always, so the next thing I want to do, let me create my own. I want this particular app to be able to access Azure Storage. And what do I want? What kind of permission do I want? Is there user impersonation? I can do that and add. So when that permission is added, yes, that is up to. Another thing you can do is to include a certificate or a claim secret. For instance, you can say, okay, this is just for access. Give it for access. We just say it's 180 days for 180 days, and I will add that. So now I've created app roles, I've created a permission, and I've created a secret. So if we go back to the permission, there's something I want us to do here is make sure you always do grant admin consent. So it's a yes. So it's to help you to make sure that this particular that you have administrative consent. You give administrative consent for these rules that or permission that you granted here. Okay. So while that is done, now the next step is for me to go to what we call a enterprise app. So if I go back to my Entra ID, and if I can do enterprise applications. So if you look at it now, I have this app I just registered is not showing up here on enterprise application. So what enterprise application does is that when you register a service principal via app registration, then the management and the operationalization of that particular app can go on from enterprise application. For instance, if I go to new enterprise application, you will see some list of real enterprise application like AWS, like SAP, and what have you. Yeah, they are kind of much here. But the one you created within your Azure environment, the one you register, maybe is in-house built. Yes, that can also be part of that. So now, what can you do here? For instance, this is my application here. What are those things I can do is to look at permissions. So now we have all these permissions that I granted. Here. Before now, we have them even reflecting here. Now, the other thing is that you can review it here. Maybe you can review it here. From here, you can see whether it's still something that you want or not. You can do conditional access. I think this is more important. So, for instance, I think my Entra ID license will not allow me to create new policies, but this is one of the major things you can do here, like creating policies that allows you to let me see, customize and make some specific changes around how access is given or allowed on these applications. So that is that. And here you can look at roles and administrators. For instance, I can say I have you can look at that. So for instance, you can do more roles. Like here, I have cloud, application administrator. I have a report reader. But from here, if you have the right licensing, you can also add some roles here and manage stuff from here. So this is how you can manage your Azure Service Principal end to end. How it actually allows you to make sure that you can create a principal for your application, and that application can be managed, even within your enterprise application blade and with other enterprise applications. So with that, I come to the end of this video, and once again, thank you for joining me.